Cowboys blood. Let's go.
Oh my God, the quarterback is toast. Hit it again. Hit it again.
Let's go.
Hit it again. Hit it again. Oh my God, the quarterback is toast. Hit it again.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to tonight's show. We're talking Cowboys football. This is serious. Cowboy time. You got Mike in the house here from Cowboys Corner. Welcome, and shout out to everybody in the chat box and everybody watching this on the replay. We can't do this without you. We're going to cover today's topics, and we'll do some Q&As towards the end. So if you guys have questions, get those to us here about midway or whenever, and we'll try to get to the ones that we can get to. Mike, we have moved on. Eagles fans, they're still in their Super Bowl mode. That was their Super Bowl, right? We've moved on. So, how are you doing, bro?
I'm doing great, dude. Listen, we don't want to talk about the Cowboys and new games because we moved on, but I want to give a big shout out to Cooper Rush, right? 4-1 as a starter, filling in for Dak Prescott. A lot of us were down on the Dallas Cowboys and really didn't give any hope. And then, they went in, they beat the Bengals, they beat the Giants, they beat the Commanders, right? They beat the Rams. And he was able to bring us back into this Eagles game, right? 2 straight drives, one for 95 yards, the other one for 75 yards. I really appreciate what Cooper Rush did. There's 32 quarterbacks in the National Football League, Joe, and the top from 20 to 32 can't do what Cooper Rush did. Seriously, they just can't do it. He's 5-1 as a starter, very reliable, can sling the ball when he need it. Listen, I appreciate everything Cooper Rush has done. I'm not going to slay him for one game throwing 3 picks because he took care of the ball. We're in playoff contentions because of him. I'm appreciative of the Red Jesus.
Oh, no, what a way to start the show. And yeah, I agree, man. It's shout out to Cooper Rush, right? He kept the ship above water. I mean, when Dak went down, it was a lot of doom and gloom, including myself. I can't deny that. I thought that this was, we're playing for the number 1 pick. You know what I mean? But here we are.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott coming along. Looks like he'll be ready, barring any kind of setback during these next practices. Looks like Dak will be the man back under the center, under Biadish's butt. All right. So it's time, bro. We're going to get into the meat of the schedule here, Mike. This is where you win it or lose it, right, Mike? So this first part of the schedule, everybody's saying, "Oh, this is the toughest part, hardest part of the schedule." And like you said, Cooper got us through it. But now we got Detroit next, Chicago. Both of these are home games for us, so that's good. And then we get the bye week, Mike. So, but what we want to talk about here, Mike, is the offense. Cooper Rush, and even going back to week 1 with Dak Prescott has been a little bit anemic here. You know what I mean? Having issues still with the red zone, this sorts of things. Will the return of Dak Prescott fix the offense? Everybody in the chat box, let me know. Let Mike know, and all of our viewers and listeners, will the return of Dak Prescott fix this offense? All right, Mike, what do you say about this?
Ooh, Joe. Listen, I just applauded Cooper Rush for what he did coming in here being 4-1. Dak Prescott didn't have a preseason, got hurt week 1, didn't finish the game. So Dak has yet to play a full game in 2022. Yes, the notion that, Dak's coming back against an easy team. Listen, any given Sunday, all right, Tony Romo lost to a guy named Matt Flynn in Green Bay. Okay, we can't take any team lightly, all right? Listen, everybody knows I'm not the biggest Dak Prescott fan. Is Dak better than Cooper Rush? Yes, he is. I don't know if Dak takes this offense to a whole nother level. Why? Because, and then we got to talk about this, Joe. I know we're on the subject of Dak Prescott, but CeeDee Lamb dropped a lot of eggs and cracked them, all right? He only had a dozen eggs to carry. He came back with like 2 eggs, all right? He cracked 10 eggs, all right, in this Eagles game. We have to have consistency with CeeDee Lamb in order for Dak to succeed. We have to have this offensive line stay consistent for Dak to succeed. Kellen Moore has to establish this run game and not have Dak Prescott throw 40 times a game. So a lot goes into this in order for Dak to get us back to where we were last year, quote unquote, the number one offense, right? It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot. I don't think Dak comes in here. It's like what I said about Michael Gallup. Excuse me. It's like what I said about Michael Gallup a couple of weeks ago. I'm saying the same thing about Dak Prescott. I don't see Dak Prescott elevating. Now, can he keep that bus driver mentality that Cooper Rush did? Absolutely. But does he raise the bar up to another level against these crappy teams? He probably will. He probably will. Let's just be honest. He plays good against sub 500 or below teams. All right. But, I want to see him against these Eagles again December 24th. I want to see him against these Giants again. I want to see him against good teams. He's probably going to light it up against these guys. But I just don't want another Denver Broncos game, another Oakland Raiders game, another Cardinals game, right? I don't want that performance from Dak Prescott. He had those games with Amari Cooper. He had those games with CeeDee Lamb. He's had those games with the offensive line. I need Dak Prescott to do what Cooper Rush did, but take it up another notch, Joe.
Yeah, no, it's all facts, right? This is all true, all truths. And I agree very much with everything you said there, and I love this comment here from Stevie Mac 23. Dak will help, but in the end, Kellen will still be Kellen, right? So that's a huge part of this thing. Kellen, I think did an okay job with what he had with Cooper Rush. Kept it simple. Just be the bus driver. Now, with Dak back at the helm, will he get cute again and start doing stupid stuff again? So will Kellen Moore do the crappy play calling that he did in Tampa? And now we get Dak back. So that's going to be the big thing to watch in these games moving forward. But you hit it on the head, Mike, with CeeDee Lamb. You know what I mean? It's about consistency with him. There's no doubt in my mind, and a lot of fans' minds that CeeDee Lamb is a very good wide receiver, but the consistency, right? Like, he'll have an amazing game, and then like he'll go through a stretch of games where it's like he's barely on the stat line, and other he just get outplayed by other players. So huge. This is going to be a huge stretch for CeeDee Lamb. Not only Dak, but CeeDee Lamb. He's got to be Dak's number one guy. You know what I mean? Like, we know that Dak has that rapport with Dalton Schultz. Schultz is banged up, so now the rapport needs to be rebuilt with Ferguson, bro. I love me some Ferguson. I think he's on his way to being the next big tight end here in Dallas. I love where his progression is at right now, this early on. But yeah, man, it's consistency all the way. Luckily, we get these 2 home games, right? So I think that'll help as well. Knock off any rust. But as far as can he help this offense get better, it's going to be determined for me. I really can't even project it right now because we only have the one game to really go off of, and it was a terrible game by everybody. So. Yeah. We will see, bro.
Yeah. No, I like that comment there by Stevie. He was, Kellen's going to be Kellen. Watching that Sunday night football game, Cowboys on offense, they got the ball first, right? And Chris Collinsworth made a comment 3 minutes into gameplay. Watch the middle of this Philadelphia defense. Watch the middle of this Philadelphia. It's going to be open there all night. Kellen Moore didn't start hitting it until the second half, Joe. Does Kellen Moore watch film? The broadcasters We're 3 minutes in this game. Okay, real-time minutes, not game minutes, real-time minutes. And the broadcasters already said what to look for. Does Kellen Moore scheme? Number one, he doesn't. We both been on record saying he can't scheme. Number two, does he even watch film? Does he just say, everybody run the hitch route and that's the game plan, ready, break? Like, seriously, we didn't attack the middle until the second half, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah, we were screaming for that, right? We were texting, hey, the middle of the field, come on, what are you doing? Yeah, dude, it's wild, bro. It's a crazy thing. So it'll be interesting to see where we get going here. I thought the running game, had its moments. You know what I mean? So
Big
Detroit
for 10,000 yards.
Yeah. Zeke got 10,000 all-purpose yards. That's something to be proud of, indeed. He's still doing his thing. He doesn't have the burst and this and that, but he plays a vital role on this team, right? It's just going to be interesting to see what the front office does at the end of the season with the money, this and that. Does he restructure? Does he do a D-law type of extension, lower pay? We'll see, but that's way down the down the season. Mike, the wide receivers, okay. Outside of CeeDee Lamb, Simi Fehoko, IR, he's nothing, right? I think the Simi experiment's done. He's not going to be anything here, man. Oh, he could be Noah Brown. Keep him around for 5 seasons, he'll be Noah Brown. No, he's not. Cowboys, it's looking like they missed on Jalen Tolbert, man. Like activated, barely any action out of him. Well, did the Cowboys miss on drafting Jalen Tolbert, or is it too early to say, Mike?
Something's not right. There's a lot of hype. Oh, Dak Prescott reached out to him before the draft. Oh, he has Dak Prescott's number before the draft. Oh my God.
Right.
They got a steal. They got this. They got that, dude. We drafted Michael Gallup in the 3rd round, and we know Michael Gallup is talented. So drafted Jalen Tolbert in the 3rd round. Is it our fault that we were like, okay, we got Michael Gallup in the 3rd, so this guy, he's going to be good, right? Yeah. Or I don't know what it is. I think it's development on the coaches, right? It's a new wide receivers coach. This is his first year with the Dallas Cowboys, so I don't know if it's that. I don't know what it is, but they are missing the availability of a 3rd round pick. No matter how you slice and dice it, they're missing that availability. They traded away Amari Cooper, came in here and drafted this guy, and they've missed on it. Either they need to get him in the coaching staff, they need to try to trade him away for a 7th or something. Don't have this guy lingering around for nothing. Get it right with Tolbert, and let's see him play.
Yeah. And this is the perfect segue to our next discussion here. The trade deadline is November 1st, which is next Tuesday. Okay. Are the Cowboys going to be in any sort of business of acquiring a wide receiver? Do they consider flipping Dalton Schultz to somebody for, a 3rd or 4th or something like this, or whatever? What is your thought on the Cowboys and the upcoming trade deadline for next Tuesday, Mike? We will obviously be here next Tuesday to discuss any moves that the Cowboys may or may not do, but, we still have a week here. Do you need to get Dak some more weapons here? What do you think they're going to do here? Something or nothing?
I don't think they're going to do anything. They built to the draft, so they're not going to trade for a wide receiver because they got James Washington coming back here soon. They got Tolbert, who's still inactive, not doing anything but special teams, right? So I honestly feel like they went into if Cooper Rush can get Noah Brown the ball, why can't Dak Prescott? If Cooper Rush can get Jake Ferguson and Hendershot the ball, why can't Dak Prescott, right? So Dak Prescott's just gonna have to step up, and we say Dak needs to step up and take it up a notch. Cooper Rush, I think the most he got was like 200 yards, right? Dak Prescott can get 250 yards with these guys. That's what I mean by taking it up a notch and still have your running game. You can still be a 300 total offense, a 300-yard total offense. It's just Cooper Rush eliminated a lot of excuses, and Dak has to set the tone and raise it up a bar.
Yeah, no, you hit it right on the head. He's got to elevate, the offense really. It's like having Romo in there versus Brad Johnson, right? Or somebody of that caliber. You want you want your number one guy in there. We've talked about that several times already. So yeah, man, Dak Prescott. Get those hidden yards. Get those hidden yards on paper. Don't leave any meat on the bone, as I say. And yeah, like get Noah Brown going. CD, Dak's gonna have Michael Gallup in his weaponry. So
Didn't have him week one.
maybe yeah, he didn't have him week one, so you gotta like that. Um, so yeah, I think it's gonna be a wait and see here. Detroit, they're scrappy. This is not a game where it's a guaranteed win. Anybody saying this is an absolute win, don't listen to them. This is gonna be a tough game, bro.
Yeah.
So and I like that it's gonna be. I like that Dak Prescott is gonna get in here and face this type of. I mean, it's gonna be fun. Aiden Hutchinson, Tyler Smith, and what is the other defensive end that they have? They have good ends, right? And they're gonna be doing their business, but we have good tackles. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a fun game, no doubt. It's going to be interesting to see how the Cowboys attack that defense and how we slow down that offense. They have physical running backs. They've got some shifty receivers. I think it's going to be a fun game, like I said. But the thing is, we got to come out of here and start building another winning streak, Mike. Right?
Yeah, no, I mean you have to do that. Like you're 2.5 games behind the Eagles, you're a game behind the Giants, right? So it's just a matter of taking care of what you can control. We the day by day mentality. I like what Dan Quinn said, talking about we play them again on the 24th. No, I'm not worried about that. I didn't even know we were playing the Lions till this morning or whatever he said, and so I'm pumped, dude. It's up to Dak Prescott, dude. It's really up to him and how he can elevate this team. Because if Cooper Rush can do it, we truly expect Dak Prescott, a 7-year veteran, started off basically every year except 1 year. He did start every year. I was thinking he got hurt earlier, but he got hurt week 4, right? So he in 2020. So he has to step up his game, dude. And I don't think we go as far as our defense anymore. I think that mindset has changed with the Philadelphia Eagles because sometimes our defense is going to need the help of our offense, Joe. It's going to need the help of our offense. And Dak Prescott has to keep these guys fresh.
And that's where we got exposed a little bit in this game here. This Eagles game had a playoff type of vibe to it, right? So I'm expecting us to be in that hunt. Right now, we are the number 6 seed. So if the season were to end today, the Cowboys have the number 6 seed in the playoffs. So we're still in it, right? Now it's just about putting that nail and securing the seed as the season goes on. I like Rodney's next chapter comment here. Good games to shake the rust off, right? So Detroit, Chicago historically has given us fits, man. So that one too will be another good game. It's a good defense relatively. Eberflus knows the Kellen Moore offense because it's Kellen Moore offense. This is no West Coast. This is no Mike McCarthy offense. This is still the plain Jane out the box Garrett offense. So Eberflus knows it in and out. So
I think it's Linehan's offense. I honestly don't think that it's Jason Garrett's. This is a Scott Linehan offense, bro. A lot of people call it the Jason Garrett offense. They have to remember Scott Linehan is who groomed Kellen Moore into the play calling role. It's a Scott Linehan offense.
Yeah, it's definitely either Garrett, Linehan, whatever you want to call it. It's maybe even a bastardized version. But even in the pregame, Jason Garrett was using his verbiage like they're gonna run this and that. Like they're still using the same verbiage, right? Garrett knows the verbiage, so it's crazy. Nothing has changed on the offensive side here. It's going to be good games, man, but I love that comment there. And Mike, speaking, going back, to this, Eagles had a little bit of a formula here, in the first half of the game where it looks like they figured out how to kind of neutralize Micah Parsons a little bit here with some one-on-ones, some drag routes, this sort of thing. Did they put a blueprint on slowing down Micah Parsons? Everybody in the chat box, did they or no? What's your thought, Mike?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think, they people always talk about, and there's a comment right here that Lane Johnson is Micah Parsons' dad, which is mind blowing to me, because the people that are saying that I don't think have watched the all 22 film yet. All right. Michael Parsons was pushing Lane Johnson 3 yards past the entire trench, right? 3 yards past the trenches where everybody else was.
Yeah.
The Eagles did a good job scheming away. Lane Johnson, all he had to do was turn his body. That's all he had to do. Jalen Hurts had the opposite play, right? The read option stuff, you can get any defensive end or any linebacker for that matter, and it's pick your poison. That's read option. If you have any common sense and any IQ of football, you understand when it's one-on-one and there's read options, you have to pick your poison. And it's when you got a guy that can run like Parson, you got a guy that runs like Sanders or A.J. Brown, whoever's on that side, and you have to pick that poison. It's hard because you got a 33% chance of getting it right. And even if you think they are going to go, they could keep the ball and run. Lane Johnson didn't do anything but do his job. They schemed it and they executed it. That's it. Lane Johnson is nobody's daddy because somebody's daddy got their asses knocked out and they're out with concussion. I'm not wishing players on anybody, but if that's your daddy, he sure did get a concussion. His head turning all kinds of crazy trying to keep up with Parsons, right? Know the game of football, Eagle fans. All you see is a 6-0. That's all you see. You don't know football. You don't watch 22 film. You go on TikTok, you go on Twitter, and you're like, fly, Eagles, fly. Well, guess what? Sometimes Eagles die in the sky and they crash land, and that is going to happen here soon.
Yeah, well said, Mike, and that's exactly what it is. It wasn't so much Lane Johnson. That narrative is hilarious to me. Micah was beating him with the inside move. D. Law was having his way with him. It was a scheme, like you said, getting him out in coverage, and this sorts of thing. And I think not many teams are going to be able to execute this. So for me, a blueprint, I don't think there's a blueprint to slow down Micah. There's not a lot of teams that are kind of offensively loaded right now, like the Eagles are, right? So I'm not worried about this moving forward. You cannot stop the best of the best, right? Whether it's Aaron Donald or Micah, they get their plays, they get their pressures, right? So Dan Quinn, I think, if he wants to avoid this for round 2, on Christmas Eve, he's going to have a little something. He's going to have a little present here for the Eagles here, and I think they're going to be in for a rude awakening, a couple of punches to the face, elbows to the teeth, and this sorts of thing. So I can't wait for that game there, Mike. Guys, in the chat box, if you got questions for us here as we get here going for the Lions game here, let us know if you got any questions or comments here. Space Cowboy in the house. Appreciate you, Space. One key takeaway from these games that the Cowboys have been resilient in the last 5 games. Almost came back after a terrible start in Philly. Yeah, that's a very good point. Very, very resilient indeed. It feels like they've bought into, the system. You know what I mean? Like that we have flushed out a majority of these Garrett, Boy Scouts, and we have a lot of edge all over the place. I love how Sam Williams is coming along. Man, he had another play or two here. He's making plays every game now, so I like the progression there. The one thing that did worry me here, Mike, and everybody in the chat box was stopping the running game kind of reared its ugly head in this game. You know what I mean? So Detroit, good backs. Jamal Williams, big physical back. They've seen him before, at Green Bay, but now he's there at Detroit. DeAndre Swift, if he can stay healthy, he's a pretty big weapon here. In the chat box, and Mike, let me ask you this: how do you feel about the Cowboys getting back on track and stopping the run? You think that we'll get back on track, or do you think the Eagles might have shown a little something here?
No, like I said, you have to have the talent in order to do that. Clearly, the Eagles got a really good offensive line. Clearly, right? They got a really good offensive line. So I mean, you can scheme it however you want, but talent has to be able to match talent. You could say they got the blueprint, but talent has to match talent. Can you find weaknesses and holes and angles and things of that sort, kind of like Sean McVay did with the Rams against us in the playoffs in 2018? Big possibility, right? How they put their hands in the dirt and all that technicality, right? That Sean McVay is very, very smart about. But I don't know if it's a blueprint. The Broncos talked about they had a blueprint on us, and we still went 12-5. So it's all about just staying in your gaps, knowing what you're trying to do. Don't try to do too much, and just do your job, as Bill Belichick says. As long as they do that, this defense is very talented. There's no blueprint.
I love it. I love it, man. Well said, bro. And shout out to Space. Thank you for that comment. I do appreciate you, bro. Asmodeus, one of my favorite usernames out here, the great almighty Asmodeus. Still, you can't spot an NFL team 20 points and expect to win the game. Mike, this is very true. When you're down 20-0, it looked like the end of the world. Couple that with the turnovers, we just weren't going to pull it out. My question to you and everybody in the chat box: does the return of Dak Prescott, does this give you more confidence in overcoming, some of these deficits that they may face, during the season? With Dak back, do you feel that we can overcome a 14-point deficit, a 13-point deficit, or with the weapons that we have right now, is it harder? How do you guys feel about overcoming deficits that we may face the rest of the season, Mike?
Dak, it all depends on who you're playing with Dak Prescott. It really does. Listen, hear me out. Dak Prescott has had 23 games in 7 years where he scored he threw, not including running, where he threw absolutely 0 touchdowns. 23 games, 7 years. You want to compare that to somebody? You can compare that to Tony Romo, who had 10 in his entire career. Okay, if you want to compare it to somebody, there you go. Dak Prescott has 23. So I don't want to get in shootouts. The only thing I want is the offense to win time of possession. If the offense wins time of possession, then you are winning the ball game because of this defense. As soon as the time of possession got flipped this past game against these Eagles, you started seeing us coming back, establishing long drives, right? Getting that defense fresh. Yes, they went down and scored that touchdown, blah, 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 whatever, right? But you've seen what happens when you can control the clock, right? You can take the entire game over, right? So it's all about time of possession. It's all about time of possession. Dak Prescott has a lot of games where he hasn't thrown touchdowns and a lot of games where he threw touchdowns late in the fourth quarter to even try to make it close. And that's not even counting on the 23 games where he has 0 thrown touchdowns. So I don't want to get in a shootout with Dak Prescott. I don't think he's that type of quarterback. But I do want time of possession on the Cowboys side.
Yeah, and that's a true stat, guys. And so I totally agree, Mike. That's something that we don't want to get in any kind of shootouts of that. And the thing is, I just don't know that we have the weapons to have any kind of shootouts like that. So appreciate the comment there, Asmodeus. I love it. Let's get to some questions here. Primetime Phil, friend of the channel. Make sure you guys hit up my bro, Primetime Phil. I will be making appearance on his show here soon. Can we trade Schultz now? Oh my God, can someone lose value as quickly as he did? We saw it, but still had him come back. Mike, any chance that Schultz is on the trade block? And could you get anything for it?
No, so Schultz won't be on the trade block. Listen, Schultz didn't have his opportunity till 2020. Schultz came in and it was a blanket for Dak Prescott. They didn't sign Dalton Schultz to a long-term deal. They just didn't. And he was bulletproof. He was bulletproof. Ironically, he gets franchise tagged on another contract year, and his knees bother him. I don't want to beat up Dalton Schultz too much because he was bulletproof 2020, 2021. We weren't talking about trading him when he was putting up great numbers. And this is no knock on Primetime Phil, guys. You guys subscribe to him. I love his work. And I've been on his show. So this is no knock on Primetime. This is just me, in my opinion. I think we need to pump the brakes on Dalton Schultz. This is probably his last year because what we've seen out of Hendershot and what we've seen with him having a hurt knee, IR, could that happen? It's harder to trade hurt players anyway. I honestly think you can't do it. If they're on the injury report, I don't think you can trade them. So, it's just a franchise tag. It's 1 year. We're not saying trade Dak Prescott, who's got paid a lot of money and has missed a lot of time, right? We're not doing that. So let's keep it fair across the board here. Dalton Schultz, let him finish out the year because he is a reliable blanket for Dak Prescott.
Yeah, no, you're right. He's definitely Schultz didn't have the rapport that Dak has with Schultz. So Schultz, I think when he gets back healthy, he's going to benefit the most from having a Dak back in starting lineup. Could you trade him? Hypothetically, you could. Teams are calling Miami for Mike Gesicki, right? Dalton Schultz to me is better than Mike Gesicki. So I wouldn't completely rule it out, but the Cowboys, they just don't do it, right? They just don't trade players. They might go get somebody and overpay somebody. Cowboys do that. But as far as trading their own, Cowboys don't do it. They're going to squeeze the juice out of these grapes into the players, it turns into a raisin. Tyron Smith, Dez Bryant, Romo. That's what they do. That's what the Cowboys do. They turn these beautiful all-pro grapes into raisins until, okay, we're done with you. And that's it. No trade value. Cowboys are terrible with that.
And the box don't whistle either.
Yeah. Greedy vegan?
Raisins, that reference. The box don't whistle.
Why do you guys think Cox is not getting any snaps? I love this question here by Greedy Vegan. Mike, do you want to tackle this one here?
Oh, you got Micah Parsons, you got Leighton Vander Esch, you got Jabril, or not, that's who we're talking about, and you got Anthony Barr, right? So you have Anthony Barr is a quality starter in the National Football League. Some of the plays you watch on tape, it's just natural linebacker, a veteran experience, instinct of read and react. Clearly, Micah Parsons, a once-in-a-lifetime generational player. And guys who we were writing off and like Leighton Vander Esch has actually really stepped up big because we got a good front four. You got a good front four. Leighton Vander Esch is going to succeed very well. And so that's where that is. And, he's still coming off an ACL. We kind of see how that Mike McCarthy likes to handle players' injuries. If they got to give him an extra week, they'll give him an extra week. So let's Jabril Cox, his time will come, but you got to appreciate your linebacker depth right now with Vander Esch, Barr, and Parsons.
Yeah, it is kind of a deal, right? Where you're like, hey, Jabril was an ascending player last year. Him and Micah, both ascending linebackers, right? Injury took him out. I think the ACL injury was probably a little bit more worse than what the Cowboys were revealing. You know what I mean? I mean, just look at the Gallimore injury, right? How do you dislocate an elbow and you're out the whole freaking year? There was damage there, right? They didn't want to say it. Jabril, maybe the knee, is a little bit more jacked up than we want, whatever. But maybe, and the only way I think Cox might get in here is, injury to Barr or LVE or somebody, and maybe he'll get in there. But I think towards the end of the year, you probably will see him in some type of rotation. He's too good of a player, but he's definitely the future at linebacker, no doubt about that. And like you said, Mike, the depth, enjoy the depth. And I think we're sitting pretty, man, because you got Damone Clark, who that's going to be a steal. You got Jabril. Both these are LSU cats, so they're going to know each other. So they're going to know how to play off each other sideline to sideline. Plus Parsons. Point. Yeah. Next year's linebacker core is going to be freaking nuts, bro. Like
the speed that we're going to have on this linebacker core is going to be unreal.
It's going to be beautiful. So that's kind of a wait and see deal there. But I totally get you, Greedy. Love the player, but I think they're bringing him along slowly. Here we go here, right here, Mike. Torrey Loper. Would y'all trade for DJ Moore or Claypool from the Steelers, Mike?
What are you trying to give up? That's my first question. You know what I'm saying? What are you trying to give up?
Yeah.
What is the trade value for a guy like DJ Moore? What is a trade value for a guy like Claypool? The Dallas Cowboys traded away Amari Cooper for peanuts, dude, for the Browns with a 5th-round pick. Don't think because you're getting one of these guys, it's just going to cost a 5th-round pick. Absolutely not. What are you going to give up, Joe? What would you give up?
Oh man, yeah, it's I don't want to give up 1st-round picks. You know what I mean? And Cowboys have put themselves in this corner, right? I mean, they traded Amari, so they made their bed, they got to sleep in it. You know, that's the old adage. I would love to have DJ Moore or Claypool, but Mike, you hit on the head. What's the value? Claypool, he's making plays there. I don't even know if they want to trade him. But these teams are going to ask for the highest, right? They're not just going to give players away. So the opening line for both these guys is probably a 1st. You know, but the Cowboys, these teams know that the Cowboys can get ripped off. We've been ripped off several times when we try to acquire a wide receiver, right? You're kind of at the mercy of the other team, and the Cowboys, they're terrible at trading for wide receivers. I don't want to do it. I would love to have them, but I have a feeling that the cost is going to be too high. You know what I mean? And I just don't want to pay that high.
You know, it blows my mind. You know, I'm not going to single anybody out, but you know, I've watched comments, you know, in and out about we need to draft this position. We need to go look at this position. You know, why not use that draft equity instead of trading for players who has to get a chemistry with Dak Prescott? Why not use that and build through the draft like Jerry and Steven have been doing, right? We got to have a left guard, Jason Peters on a 1-year deal. You know, I don't trust McGovern. So you got to look at left guard. You got to look at a wide receiver. You got to look at a tight end. You got to look at a linebacker. Terrell Basham's on his last year with the Dallas Cowboys. So you got to look at a more D-line depth. So be cautious of what you say about trading away all your draft picks for some players because you got a lot to still build on with this football team.
Yeah, that's no joke, man. That's no joke. I talked about that too in my post game. It's like you still need the left guard. That still screams as a need, right? In try to add another quarterback here. You know what I mean? To develop. Mike McCarthy did it really good at Green Bay. You keep drafting and develop. You're gonna hit on someone. Patriots, Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi. They look like they have 2 quarterbacks now, right? They're talking about quarterback controversy over there. So it's good to have that problem, to have the next guy coming up, man. Dak's no spring chicken, as Bill Parcells would say, right? So start developing. Don't get caught with your pants down, and throw a pick, man. Throw a pick at a quarterback, 3rd, 4th round if you want, but don't do it a 7th round pick, bro. Like, I mean, like Danucci. Just not good, bro. Just not good. I love it, man. And I love these questions. Chat box is off the hook. Let's see what else we got here, man. If you see any out here, Mike, highlight it for me. I'm scrolling through here.
My actual sister.
I'm scrolling through here.
Said,
see if we got some more questions in the chat box.
Can you hear me, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
I hear you. What is Elliott lacking this year, right?
Yeah, that's my sister right there. Shout out. But is Elliott lacking anything? He just hit a milestone, 10,000 yards, total yards, right? Scrimmage yards. Is he lacking anything, Joe?
The only thing, if we're being 100% honest, is just that burst, right? He still blocks for all. I mean, he's the guy that's going to block and protect your quarterback, but you don't pay high millions of dollars just for a running back to block, right? Now, it is hard to find backs that are well-rounded like Zeke, where they can run and block. I mean, Pollard, he he's not a pass blocker.
No,
you have Pollard in there, and the O-line better hold up because Pollard's not going to pass block. But that's the only thing he's lacking to me. I mean, we saw the touchdown where he made the touchdown, but he had to run, all the way to the corner. It felt like something out of Madden, like shit, he made it. he ran out of speed, man. No shade on Zeke, man, but that's it. But physical player, man. Players don't like to tackle him. You know what I mean? He's still that real physical. He sets the tone. He can catch the ball. But I think that's it. I think just the burst is not there anymore. But we all know this by now, right? So still a very integral part of the offense, Mike. What's your thought on this question?
No, dude,
great question, by the way.
Sometimes I like you to go first. So I was going to say the same thing. It's the explosiveness, man. You can see like during his offseason videos when he's cutting, that's actually kind of translating into his game, but he don't have that. I'm not asking for Tony Pollard speed, but I'm asking, right? It looks like he's running in third gear. Get me to fourth gear. Let me see what fourth gear looks like for you, Zeke. I'm not asking all full 6 gears. Give me the fourth gear. Let me see what that looks like. He's lacking that. He's lacking that fourth gear, man. And but his cuts, what he's doing in the offseason with his cuts and moving the body to the side and cutting, I like that. That's translating really well to the football team. He just needs to hit that fourth gear.
Yeah, and it's going to be very interesting to see what the Cowboys do, like I said, in the offseason, because, I mean, he is still a key part of this offense, right? So, and he plays a vital role, but it's like, at the Cowboys with the price tag, they're going to want that price tag to come down. Will Zeke be willing to do a D-Law type of restructure at a lower cost? We'll see. We'll see. But, guys, I think this was a really great show. Lots of great questions coming out of the chat box. Great work, guys. And is this the end of the world, losing to the Eagles? Not at all.
No.
Like I said, we're the number 6 seed right now in the playoffs, so we're still in the driver's seat. Yeah. Just keep winning. Keep winning, and we'll be fine, man. Mike, let everybody know where they can find you if they haven't already, bro.
Hey, yeah, Cowboys Corner right here on YouTube. That was a funny comment. It said, Joe, he said, Joe, he goes, Joe is okay. The dude on the right is a Romo lover. But Cowboys Corner, underscore Cowboys Corner on Twitter, guys. And Cowboys Corner. I think I just made my own little handle. I don't know if it's Cowboys Corner official. All right, right here on YouTube.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can't do this without my co-host Mike. Can't do it without him. So I do appreciate Mike. And we do appreciate everybody in the chat box that came through here. We love you guys. And that's why we come out here and talk Cowboys straight up to the point. You know what I mean? No sprinkles, no glitter, no nothing like that. Just straight to the point Cowboys talk. We love it. And let's get this win, baby. Let's get this offense going, all right? That's all we have. See you guys for the next one. Peace.